Hello everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and today I'm sharing with you a mixed media altered tag that I made using the Art Joy of Sharing mood board for the month of April 2019. This is a new thing that we've been doing at the Art Joy of Sharing Facebook group. I made one in January, Peg made one in February. Actually, I think we actually started in February. Anyway, the March one I didn't get done because I didn't finish all the stuff I was supposed to do in March. So this is the April one that I made at the beginning of the month. All a mood board is a series of pictures, and you can look at them and get inspired by what you see, the shapes, the colors, the ideas in the mood board. And it's just another fun way of doing an art challenge to get you motivated, get you started in doing something. So you saw the one for April at the slides at the beginning. It's got a lot of pink and gray in it. And it has some linear shapes in one of the photos where it was, I think, taken inside of a building that has storage units. And there's these lines, linear shapes. And so I decided to imitate that type of a lined look by using some monochromatic colored washi tapes, and I'm just using them, gluing them across. I don't really want this stark black, but the colors in the mood board are pink and gray, and I figure I can calm this down once I'm done with it and make it more gray tones if I put some diluted gesso over the top. So I'm using my permanent glue stick to make sure that the washi tape is glued down. Washi tape doesn't like to stick down. It's got a very weak adhesive on it, and so it tends to peel up later, which I don't know about you, but that bugs me. So I'm just making sure using my permanent glue stick that it's all stuck down by just running that across the tag first. This is a manila tag that has some white gesso on it that's been dried onto it. I didn't want that manila color, the yellowy color, because I'm trying to go for real clean, stark colors. So it was gessoed before I started. So then I just kind of fold the tapes to the back and make sure that everything is the shape of the tag again. And then I've got some white gesso with a little bit of water, and I'm putting a coat of that over the entire thing. I think this will also help the tape stick down as well, because now it has this whole covering of paint over the top of it. And I just keep doing that until I'm satisfied with it looking more gray instead of black and white. And I end up putting a couple coats on. The first one was just too diluted and it still looked too black to me. So I put a more, a less diluted coat on as well. And now it seems to be more grays and whites, which is what I wanted. So then in one of the pictures, there's a spherical building made out of triangles, and I decided to use the triangle shapes in addition to my linear lines here. So I have some scraps of paper that are painty paper that I've made in the past. I'm not sure where they're from, but they're little scraps, and they've got lots of bright pink and light pink colors like are in the mood board, that, you know, blazingly bright pink, which is actually the color. The reason I picked it is because it's spring here in the desert, and some of our cactuses, the prickly pear cactus sometimes has a bright pink, like, you know, everything is kind of calm in the desert, calm colors, calm grayish greens and browns and tans, and then in the spring some of the cactuses get ridiculously bright yellow, bright pink, bright purple blooms on them. So I thought that bright pink was a good happy color to have for our mood board this month. And then I was thinking about back in the 80s how pink and gray were really popular together. So I'm just using some Liquitex matte gel medium to glue down all these little triangles And it breaks up that linear design and makes it look more interesting, having something on one side that's different than the lines. So I thought that looked pretty cool, and it brightens it up. It brings in that pink color, and also it's imitating the triangle shapes on that one building, I guess it is, probably some sort of building. And I don't know, I liked it. I thought it looked pretty cool. So then I had found this picture, when I was going through all the pictures, I found this picture of someone doing like an on-point type of ballet position in Converse shoes. And I thought that those pink Converse shoes were so cute on the mood board. And so I wanted to have some more Converse shoes on my project. So this is a black and white photo. It had a little bit of blush of pink on it. It was an interesting photo. And I cut out the legs, the shoes, and then one of the little beams that it's standing on, because I don't like things standing on something that doesn't, like just standing in air. So I made sure to have something that the shoes were standing on, the legs or shoes or person or whatever you want to say. Then I also had this stamped image of some butterflies, and I thought that was springy, and it brought back in the patterns from the background, bringing them back into the foreground, because these butterflies have some pattern on them. And that's just stamped with black archival ink on some tissue paper. And you can use a water tank brush to just go around it and kind of trim out the excess. And then when you put it on with a fluid glue, like liquid matte gel medium, which is what I mean liquid fluid medium, not the gel, but the fluid, it just that extra tissue paper just blends right in. So you don't have to cut them out so precisely. In fact, I like the torn edge because it blends in a little bit better. So I went ahead and put those down. I used a piece of baby wipe to just kind of blot it and make sure that it was pressed down. There's a lot of texture on this one now because it has so many layers of different things on it. So now I want to colorize my black and white photo. And this is a fun thing to do if you have a black and white photo, or even if you take a color photo and you alter it in something like Paint, a photo editing program. You can just change it to black and white, even if it's a color photo, and then add the color back in yourself. And you can do this with alcohol markers and different things like that, but I decided to use my Prismacolor pencils this time. And I'm bringing those Converse shoes into a very pink tone, like the ones on the mood board. After I looked at the mood board again, I realized they're not exactly the same color. These are more of a magenta, but I'm also using the white and then some of the gray pencils, and I'm just coloring over this photograph, and it makes it look a lot more like it's a drawing when you do this. It alters the photo and makes it appear as if it's maybe some sort of a pencil drawing, which is a cool effect, and it's a fun thing to do. You guys should try it if you have some colored pencils. I hardly ever use these, you can tell, because they're all sharp and they're not, worn down from being sharpened. But I'd like to do this more. This is a fun technique. I just always tend to go towards paints and inks rather than something like this. But I need to widen my horizons. It really starts to look interesting when I put this light gray highlight on one side of the leggings. And then I've got a medium gray and a dark gray, and I'm really making, a blend and making it look as if there's much more contrast in the color than there was in the photograph. And I think that looks cool. I think it's a pretty neat effect. So I bring in a little bit of that dark gray around the tops of the butterflies to make them stand out a little bit more. And I do end up doing more to them later to make them even stand out a little bit more. But I decide that I need a word. Also, it bothers me that the the board, the beam, whatever the person is standing on, doesn't come all the way to the bottom of the tag. It just wasn't long enough and it was bothering me. So I decided if I put some words across the bottom, then that would camouflage that very abrupt cutoff point and make it kind of blend into something. And I looked in my regular stickers from Tim Holtz. I was looking for something in there, but I didn't like anything that I found. And so I decided to print out Get Up and Dance with my Brother P-Touch label maker. And it's a handy thing to have if you can't find the words that you want. This is a good way to make a sticker. It has white with black. Also, there's other colors you can get with the P-Touches, but I just have the white and black. So then I brought in a black fine tip Posca pen, and I'm just adding some illustration lines because I just like them. I just like the way they look. So I do some around the words, some around the legs and the shoes, have a little bit of white highlights, some around the butterflies. And then the last thing I do is bring out my distress crayons. These are really easy to blend with your finger, and so I just wanted to use the bright pink. I think it's maybe picked raspberry. I think it's probably picked raspberry in the distress crayons, and I just put it here and there just to bring a little bit more of that pink because it didn't seem to have enough of the pink to me, and blended it with my finger, added some white splatters. And then I'm going to put this on 2 layers of cardstock, one pink and one black, just to make it look more interesting and finished. I like to put my altar tags on backgrounds. It covers up the ugly back, and it also adds a frame around it, which I think makes it more interesting. So if you've enjoyed this video, please remember to give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment or question below. And yes, you guys, I am still sick. I am going to the doctor today to get a Z-Pack, so you don't need to tell me about that anymore. In my last video, everyone was like, oh, you're sick, you need to get a Z-Pack. So I'm doing that today, which is yesterday to you guys, because this video is not coming out till tomorrow. I know, confusing. I put those layers on, punch a hole, and I put some ribbons on, and a little bit of baker's twine. That's a black and white baker's twine, some pink gingham ribbon, and some pink grosgrain ribbon, and that finishes off this tag. So I hope you liked it. I'll be doing the mood board again next month, whatever Peg's mood board is. I'll be sure to try to do it. So that's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.